All right. So I'm going to look eventually to see if I can find that video. I am not going to share it right now because I'm getting ready to do my Miss Las Vegas album, which is going to have both of those songs on it, and I'm not even going to start recording it till next year sometime. Okay? I wanted to do a lot of what I'm doing while I can up until I was about 50. So I'm doing a large bulk load of songs. East Station Street and Walnut. Let's check this out. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's like a local park. Is that what it is? Dun, dun, dun. And it has a baseball field. I don't know if it's opened or not. We're gonna drive down here, and I don't know if this was, to be completely honest with you, I don't know for sure if this was the exact place that they had it originally. I just want to take this opportunity and thank everybody, whoever sees this video. I know some of them may have passed away by now, and I am very sorry to hear that. I ended up going back on the road as an entertainer for quite a while because some things occurred at the Huber Heights house. So I was homeless yet again for quite some time. And then eventually I came back, sporadically. And then I stayed more so or not since July of 2012. That is when I, for the first time, actually started to engage in trying to figure out what's going on. Why am I having as many difficulties as I am? What am I missing? And that was the big one, is that I have been being harassed for probably my whole life. With, I don't know if it's military, maybe from another country, maybe from another planet. I would consider them Satanists. And why is that? Because humans are here for life. We might not have it all figured out. Most of us can say we don't. But rest assured, if somebody's trying to deter you from fulfillment of the life that God has for you in your brain, things that you want to do that might be different than everyone else in the world, or might be the group of people you should be doing things with, then know this, that military assaultant, or whatever it is, an alien from outer space that plugged into your brain, they assault people in such a manner that most people would say they destroy their life, they destroy opportunities, relationships, they cause problems, is what appeared to be somebody. I don't know if it was a Fed agent, I don't know if it was a military man, an office personnel that stopped by to talk to me when I was down at the Oregon district, but he left me know that they can see through my eyeballs, okay? He can see me in the mirror when I'm flossing my teeth. And so I still laugh, right? I have to. Because it's insane. I can't believe that there's any life form whatsoever that would want to plug into another human being and purposely wreck their life, okay? It's just, I wouldn't want to do that, so I don't get it. But I do get it. A lot of times they will get singer-songwriters, whatever information, whether it's lyrics, whether it's titles of songs, whether it's the generalized idea, and try to get that person to either rip up the song sheet, delete it, basically dispose of it, and then they use the ideas because they don't believe that someday anything good can come out of it for that songwriter, because they know things that we don't know. And that's why, more so or not, you will find out that what? You hear the same songs on the radio your whole life. With that being said, getting back to like content being taken from your hard drive and stuff, my brother had taken a picture of me and the lead singer of Kix. And anyway, that picture is now missing. And my brother's not like that. Not my brother. Somebody else from afar seriously does not want me having any photographs of myself throughout my life being visual, meaning I've done a lot of shows and I've taken at least hundreds of photographs of people at my shows, people I met, like Bret Michaels, like the lead singer of Kix, and I don't use stuff like that to boast. I share my stuff at time to time. But like that photograph, I didn't share. I might have posted it online, but I don't really, it's not my personality type to really do that unless I have, like when I'm doing a website and I'm meeting different people and then I just share it with other people who might be interested. But I don't go around and that's my main subject for the rest of my life. This is exactly the kind of stuff that I deal with even with my music and video content. And when I first came out here to Ohio and I was posting stuff online, I was extremely insecure with myself, extremely insecure with my singing. I had all these other things that I was enduring, and I was sick of being surviving as an entertainer. I wanted to be, I know this sounds weird, but I wanted to be Tracilyn, an everyday girl. Everyday girl, just an everyday person. I was hoping to fall in love someday. I was still thinking that if I can't have any children, that I could adopt a child, or at least have children in my life on a time-to-time basis. I still wanted to be involved in the community at large, not just trans, just my local area, and abroad. And with that being said, when I first was at Catherine's in January for a couple months and I wrote songs and stuff, I had posted a little bit of content on Flickr, on Facebook, which would have been facebook.com/Tracilyn Michael. I used my whole name because I was going to start living not as an entertainer. I was just Tracilyn Michael. That's me. I was just going to be sort of plain, okay, but still be my vibrant self. And share content, And when I ended up moving over to Huber Heights, to let you know how Facebook, obviously something is operating within Facebook or on Google Chrome or something, that Facebook page was kept hidden from me. And that's how Tracilyn 21 got started. Then once Tracilyn 21 was a whole bunch of content in 2012 posted online, all of a sudden Tracilyn Michael appeared. They were trying to get me to shut down the Tracilyn 21, and I still use it to this day, okay? And why do they do that? They get you to post stuff psychologically. When you do, whether they get you to post it online or when you do, okay? They use whatever they use for why they use it, and then they try to get you to shut everything down or delete things from the internet. And what I've learned in 2012, even to the point that I did it on YouTube, I started sharing all my content on YouTube. They still manipulate your brain still, and I'm fighting through it. And when you leave your content posted, refuse to take it down. Leave it there. Leave it there. Write a great song, make a great video, and post it. That's when I started learning that they use fake account numbers, meaning view counts are not real, don't believe them. Subscriptions, even the people subscribing, don't believe it's real, don't believe anybody is, because they can block your account from the whole world. They can filter it to zoning areas or a certain group of people that they want your content only available to, okay? They're corrupted. I'm not saying it's YouTube, but something's doing it, okay? There's corruption there. On top of it, if you leave it there long enough and you do not take stuff down, they will take it down. So my YouTube page ended up one day at some point, my whole YouTube page was taken down with all my videos and everything I had. They were very difficult in reaching out to actually talk to somebody at YouTube to explain what happened. I wanted to tell them what occurred, and there was no way that I could actually pick up a phone and speak to somebody, because that's what I needed, or to drive to YouTube. So, with that being said, since I've been recording this last album especially, I have one of the RPM rotor type. It's not the solid state, it's the other one. Hard drives, I have the 5400, and they spike it with some kind of energy weapons, electricity or something, and it makes it skip, or it slows down the spindle. Okay, it puts a lot of strain on the computer. This makes it very difficult for me to record, for me to mix and master. They harass me with the speakers, intermittent them continuously. I have been going through this stuff dominantly that I've realized probably all my life, but I most certainly have realized it since I've been in Ohio. And now I've come to the point that I leave up what I want to leave up. I will not take down what I don't want to. And that's when I started to realize that they become more forceful in taking stuff down for you. In order to change the subject, we're going to be focusing on here. And they're both going to tie together, okay? At this time, I was new to being Tracilyn, a female. I was a long distance from Pennsylvania if it came to walking. I did not have any source of taking care of myself except for the person who said that they would help me, who had proven to me that at a drop of his word, I would have to move if he says so, okay? And with that being said, challenging times, I still continued to try to network with, I didn't know what else to do. Connect with others, people. But imagine being the person who's always looking to connect with people but don't know how to really take care of themselves. I didn't find out ways I could take care of myself because people withheld that information from me until 2013, 2014 when somebody walked up to me when I was playing on the street and told me, why don't you just get Social Security? You know, why don't you go and talk to them and explain to them what's going on in your life? All these people in the world, all of my abilities, I am able. And there's nothing else for me to do but that. And I remember thinking to myself, why, when I was crying my eyes out and explaining how I was homeless to countless psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, staffs of hospital help, nurses and doctors, why wouldn't you tell me I can get Social Security? Makes sense to me. Years I was trying to get my needs met. I went through a lot because people wouldn't just tell me that. In order to have people in your life, you got to be their idea of a human being. And if as soon as you're not, they kick you out forever. Long story short, the person that claimed that they were going to help me if I came out here to Ohio, which I'm going to touch base with as I enter into 50, I don't want to talk about it no more, unless it's going to be beneficial on national television or radio or a book or a movie or something like that. But just my everyday life, no. I am believing for a healing, a restoration of something that I would have never encountered before. And I am fully aware that the enemy, which would be Satanist, will be at me for the rest of my existence. If I live to be 3,000 years old, okay? They're going to always be there. They always were. They're always going to be there. They cannot stand Americans' way. When I went to New York, I didn't know where it came from. Now I do. It's like CB radio frequencies. Okay, communications. They can do direct to human, from human to human direct communications with the brains. It's through like wave files or whatever. Waves. Sound wave. Now here's the thing, check this out. As soon as I went to New York for the first time in my life, I did an address. I heard thoughts in my head that told me they hate America's way of life. Americans' way of life. So as I went through New York and I heard that, it wasn't me. I don't hate it. I'm going to New York for the first time in my life to have fun. So I didn't know where that came from. And I realized that several times in my life. Just like when I came here to Dayton, Ohio, and I was walking downtown on Main Street, and all of a sudden I was with Catherine, another trans girl, and all of a sudden I heard, not from us, not from a stranger, out of nowhere, in my brain, I heard, I've always wanted to relocate to the Midwest. It's like a computer program told me this. I said, did you hear that? She said, no. I said, I just heard somebody say something about me that I've always wanted to live in the Midwest. That is not true. I never said that. I'm from the East Coast. I like the Midwest. I like life and I like diversity and I have no problem with the Midwest, but I never said that's what I wanted to do. All right, we're gonna go drive around quick and I'm gonna see where I can park my car. I don't know necessarily if this is the place that I was. We're wrapping up with the video. I'm not going to share the video right now because I'm working on Miss Las Vegas coming up next year. I'm finishing up a fourth album which has songs of I call them remakes. meaning they're songs already recorded, and I'm doing them a little bit differently this time around. And some of it's very personal reasons. Others is maybe challenges I had musically, or maybe maybe one or two I didn't like something I did. So I just redid a whole nother version because I ain't going to go back and redo the same way at this time. I'm not going to do that. With everything I endured and everything I was going through up until 2010, I somehow, I don't know if it was at the writer's night, maybe that's where it was. See, I joined an NSAI group from Dayton, Cincinnati, and I used to go, when I get into stuff, I really get into it. Like when I was in life group at church, I ended up going to a lot of life groups, but I had my favorite one that I would tend to. But I want more, which is healthy. I went bar hopping throughout life. Now I'm going to see different environments. Now I'm going life group hopping, I want to see how different life groups operate, function, conversate, Is anybody actively wanting to do something? And if so, what are they engaging in, So it's the same thing with songwriter nights and NSAI. So they had them in Cincy. They had them in the Dayton area, I think. That was pretty close, Centerville or something like that. And then they had Columbus. So I went to like 3 or 4 different ones. I would say 3 of them, 3 different ones, 2 or 3 of them. And within that, they ended up introducing me to Paul David Bach. Vaughn did. Ended up introducing me to Paul David Bach, and that's how I got to do a couple shows with him. As well, I have some of the most amazing music because I had the opportunity to meet him, and he gave generously almost every CD that he had recorded up to that point. He had given me, a copy. And that has still to this day, I got that one in my car. Let's see, what else do I got? I like this one a lot. And so these guys that play on this are very talented. And let me see. And this is one of my favorite. This is all by Paul David Bach. And he has more, but those are the ones that I dominantly listened to a lot when I came here. So it's kind of like setting my background music for Ohio, my Ohio life circumstances. So thank you, Vaughn, for introducing me to Paul. That was one of the coolest people I have ever met, and I'm looking forward to conversating about that maybe this year yet, and putting peace with everything as I move forward. I ended up meeting somebody who was are you familiar with the Vikings? See, I'm still not 100% familiar, but I do know, the only thing I really know is that they are into dressing in different attire and costumes, into I don't want to say pretending or acting, but yet it is similar to that. If it would be called something else, forgive me, because I don't know how to say it, but it's like they get into the thoughts of being a Viking, and some of them are very much so into the lifestyle of living Viking-like. I met somebody who played, is it like a harp or something? I don't know what they're called. They're like, June Carter had played one, okay? Well, this gentleman had played over here at Papa Joe's. I'm almost positive that's where I met him at. He had mentioned he was a Viking, and so I think was some of the other people there, maybe even the one who made the video of me and posted it online, and he had sent them to me. He might have been a Viking too, but there was at least one that was there that I ended up talking to, and in April, approximately, of 2010, he had invited me to also come to his house where he was staying at the time to meet what he perceived as family. And then I got to wear a costume that was made for me, by the way, which was from the owner or the wife of the owners of the house that I stayed at in Huber Heights. And I had to ask because I didn't know what else to do. I was not good with a sewing machine and stuff. I asked her because she was into designing, I guess, anything from costumes to clothing, to curtains and stuff like that. She had mentioned that she could help me along with a costume. And I am very grateful. Her name is Anne. and I know she's a very special person, very unique from a majority of the human race. And she was very friendly to me, and I love her in my own way. And I'm very thankful I had the opportunity to live in her house. And I'm also very thankful that she made my costume. I tried to stay in touch with her since we had parted ways with the house. I've been working on my project continuously, and I only got to see her like maybe once or twice. But I do run into her husband, Walt, every once in a while, and I maybe once or twice too over the last few years. And both of them mean a lot to me. They were both some of the friendliest people I have ever met. And I appreciate the kindness and no sense whatsoever of any kind of judgment, at least in front of me. And that means a lot to me. With that being said, she had made a costume. I went over to her newer home, and she had it ready for me. And I'm not sure. I think I had wings. I'll show you the picture. It was like mint green. And I wore it over at the Viking Festival here in Ashville. And it was something brand new for me. I never met anybody that was Viking, but one of the unique things which I thought was cool was the school that I went to was Northern Lebanon School District, my very first year in school. And then we had to move out of Jonestown, Pennsylvania, and move to the city of Lebanon, and then I had to go to the city school. I liked the school and some things about it, but I did not like going to the city school. And my cousins and everyone else went to Northern Lebanon School, and I'm pretty sure that their main sign, I forget what mascot, if you would, I don't know, slogan, was Viking. I remember Northern Lebanon Vikings, I'm almost positive. So that kind of related to me back to my first year of school. But I didn't really understand what that was, Viking, and what it meant, so I wanted to learn more about it. And this was a great place to come. And I thought it was cool because I have always wanted to explore in my female desires what I perceived in the 70s and 80s as women or girls, females, if you would, ladies. The activities they get involved in was more of an interest to me. So even when it gets into more exotic stuff as well, it also very much so the same. I connected with a lot of girls, but not since I came out. I have not connected with as many that I would have been enjoying the opportunity to meet kind ones that would be sympathetic towards the fact that I'm a little unfamiliar, but I'm still interested in consuming myself with learning things that were always an interest of mine, but I was always fear and other reasonings as to why I never indulged in those things. So sometimes genetic girls are really, really friendly to trans, okay, a lot, and sometimes they might not fully understand. So you don't want to offend anybody. Can I tell you, being transsexual is an awesome blessing to me, but yet it kind of has me in a unique position in the human race at times. I'm very attracted to what I'm attracted to when it comes to men, and I like to be in the presence of other women for different reasons than what other people would think. Masses of people think one thing when you get into male and female, and I think different, okay? So I've learned a different reason why in Scripture God recommends for us to remain pure before the Lord. I think it's better that way. God only, words in my brain. Anyway, there were some dancers that were here. There were people who were role-playing and had swords and stuff and big hats. People made things and made them available that you could purchase them and stuff. So there's like different stands and people with hula hoops and all kinds of stuff that were going on. So it was kind of like a festival, okay? And it was my first Viking festival I ever attended, and everybody was very kind to me when I was here. And I want you to know that I am extremely thankful. When I see the photographs with me in it, I realize in my head that it felt to me like I felt uncomfortable. Can I tell you that? I felt all kinds of things that were not necessarily healthiest and the best for me to think about myself, with perceiving myself. But that didn't stop me from continuing on. It's just that I realized that I may have challenges ahead of me, that I don't want. But it seemed to me that it might be pretty obvious. So when people accepted me, I could understand reasons why others would not accept me, okay, sort of. But the ones that did, I'm very grateful for. The gentleman that had met me over here at Papa Joe's and invited me to the Viking Festival, he was also in my music video. And you can go on to my music videos on YouTube and you could type in Crazy Life. And he is one that rides, I don't know what that's called, like a two-wheel kind of scooter. He was in my video, and I'm very grateful for that. And that he still was willing to speak with me every once in a while. We'd chat back and forth on Facebook. I was very grateful that he was willing to be in my music video. Unfortunately, within a couple years or so, not so long ago, he had passed away. I wanted to either attend his funeral, I don't know if he was cremated, but the places where his ashes may be. I wanted the opportunity to at least visit for a place that I could psychologically attend, and give a great deal of thanks for being in my life. It was at a serious time in life that I needed just anybody to be kind to me and let me be involved in something that I could do. And also, it helped me to get out of the house that I was living in. Because anybody who is in circumstances that you're kind of dependent on whether or not somebody's going to care for you or not, sometimes it can be, I just need to get away for a little while. Not forever, maybe, and this was one of those places that I went. And can I tell you that when I was walking around, it didn't go without feeling a little, am I going to have a place when I return back? Am I still going to have a home? Will anything of mine be missing? What am I going to do to be able to long-term take care of myself? I was trying not to bring that here in conversation. Again, once I started to realize how I could take care of myself, I'm really disappointed in organizations, churches, people of a professional, licensed, that I talked to and explained what was going on. I should not have been taking my concerns to the general public everywhere I went. But the only way you're going to get the help you need is if you keep telling people until you get it. I told the right people, they just wouldn't tell me what to do. They wouldn't offer it to me. Even one of my favorite doctors, who was Dr. Tan, didn't tell me how I could get my needs met. He just said somebody that was appointed to me would help me until I moved out of state. Then she said she wouldn't help me anymore. Let me tell you something. For all you assholes out there that are listening to this right now, that work in mental institutions or hospitals, you're a licensed doctor, let me tell you something. Because somebody isn't going to conform to your idea, that doesn't mean that you should not help them. Okay? That's inconsiderate. And if I knew for sure who that lady was, I would specifically call her in the near future. I'm going to call the office and see if I can track her down. But I want to tell her she was an asshole for denying me help because I moved out to Ohio, knowing that if I stayed with the people I was once staying with in Lebanon, the details of what was going to happen, the obvious, okay? All this stuff is on my head. Not to mention, I wanted to be able to add time, especially as this year is approaching. I wanted to be able to connect with my son in hopes that he'll at least give me an opportunity to talk to him. Anyway, my niece was born, in 2000, and I wanted to see her grow up. I could not have my own son, in my life on a regular basis without extreme high volumes of confrontation with his other parent. And I don't know why you people don't understand. Some people want to enjoy their life. But no, I'm here. I want to enjoy my life. I'm a very friendly person, but do you know how difficult it is to get along with one human being? Unless you're kissing their ass. Unless you're being exactly what they want. They want to dominate somebody. Ask anybody who's really kind. They'll probably tell you that's what they go through. Okay? But I'm not thinking like that. And I'm thinking, I'm a catch for the right people, for the right person. I love life. I want to do stuff. I'm not lazy. I'm able to do a lot. Meanwhile, I'm here and I'm trying to have peace and enjoy myself, knowing that most likely it's not going to lead to anything else other than I'm going to go back to Huber Heights and still not know what to do about my circumstances. Besides, I don't want to just meet complete strangers and things occur anyway. I mean, yes, to talk and if life happens, but more so or not, I have learned you don't want to just connect with people. Okay, we're gonna drive around here really quick and then I'm gonna get parked and then I will share with you. Bum, bum, bum. Look at this. What is that? How is it? See it? The world's oldest traffic light? I don't know what that meant. It's like the world's oldest traffic light there or something? So check this out. And please forgive me if I am not 100% accurate with this, but I thought the Viking Festival, or at least the new ones, are here. So like last year's or the year before. I think it's going to be again in April, and I'm hoping that I can attend one of the days. I think it's like for the weekend or something. Maybe it's for the week. I would like to connect with anybody who would be attending it this year. Hopefully I can stop by one of the days. I go back and forth in Logan, so I don't know if it's just Saturday or if it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or what the deal is. But they do have something on Facebook. It's Viking Festival in Ashville. If you type it in, most likely you'll be able to find out more of the details as they post them. So this side here kind of looks sort of familiar. We're gonna park over here on the side. And hopefully we don't upset anybody when we do it. So check this out. Something that I wanted to share is, especially once I started surrendering more to the truth of my thoughts, I wanted to wear costumes. And it's kind of like I went back psychologically into childhood. And I started surrendering more to the truth of things that I've been wanting to do, but yet I've denied for many reasons. Not because of others or any other conditions, just that's the way it was. And this was an opportunity for me to wear a costume. And I would like to wear, still to this day, costumes. I want to go trick-or-treating for the first time this year in a manner that I want to go trick-or-treating. Okay? I'm coming up on my 49th birthday this year. And I have a date for trick-or-treating, if it's possible, with all the laws and stuff, to do something that I've been wanting to do since before I was 6 years old. Okay? And I would have really loved to do things like that with someone or other people who I thought loved me. But guess what? Tracilyn's not doing too much with anybody else who claims that they love her. Me. That's who loves me. And during this season of this time, I was watching Joyce Meyer's 4 years. I was listening to her audio CDs. I had CDs in my car, okay? This isn't hers, but I had one. This is Hannah. This is my only Christmas album that I have. It has classic Christmas music. I still listen to it whenever throughout the year. You know, I was saturated with reading literature, not just from her, but from many different ministries, power of the mind, positive thinking, the Got Purpose. Did you ever do that? Read the Got Purpose and join life group and stuff? And a lot of the Christian community, period, focus on people with people and the manipulation of God, Christ, and Scripture to have people relationships or people assistance. The biggest one, selfishness. Get away from being selfish with your life. With that being said, I'm here to tell you that that's the most selfish thing that anybody could ever teach you. None of these people are in my life today. And even the person who invited me here would not be in my life, even then in the music video, if I didn't reach out to him. In other words, you can invest into human relationships every day of your life. And it may give an illusion that some of them care. But disconnect for a while. Don't do it mean. Just go about life and see who contacts you. And how often. I've realized who truly acknowledges. Other people can love you, and it might not appear that way. But the ones that reach out to you, it's definitely obvious. At least God put it in them. Words put it in their brain to say hi to you. Whether it's a Christmas card or it's a, hey, I'm thinking of you. Okay, even the owner of the Huber Heights house, who is the one who prayed for me to get off the bridge and come to Ohio, made promises to me that he did not keep, and we went through a lot together, disconnected me the last time that I moved out of the Huber Heights house because his excuse was his wife, whose husband, by the way, most likely went down in a silver Wright B flyer, because the same people who have been harassing me use laser and energy weapons. Chances are, whatever you do, don't fully believe that it was a mechanical failure when it comes to that plane crashing in the field. Because then that would mean that there's a good chance that the pilot that was flying it and died, failed at having a safe aircraft. And that's not fair, if it's not true. How about the consideration that maybe he was assaulted by the military and the plane went down and the military killed the pilot? For what reason? Well, you tell me. Since I came out here, I had a sensation ever since being an escort, receiving a bloodbath, coming out here and hearing about being in a tornado shelter, to all kinds of weird things occurring in my life, files missing, being harassed online. I don't know the actual reasonings why, but very bizarre stuff that I am more and more and more in tune with today. You are not alone in your brain. And don't think just because the wall in Mexico and America here has been built to keep people out of from Mexico coming into America. Know this, that if they're really using energy weapons and they're going to strike, they're going to strike with lasers and stuff. They want to contain humans. This may be why masses of people, when you look at the United States at large, all live together, sort of. Even though we're spread apart some, there's a lot of emptiness. When you go further out west, you start to realize, why do we all live together like we do if the country is so big? Maybe there's other life forms and they don't like humans. Do you ever think of that? Or maybe there's humans that live 2, 3, 4, 500 years, 1,000 years. Maybe we never die and they kill us. Maybe they just don't like us for whatever reason. Do they need a reason? We're not like them. Maybe they just don't like any form of signs of life. With that being said, am I using somebody else's money at that time? I can't get work. I have a lot of things on my mind. Will I be able to get through my transition? Will they be able to tell I'm trans or not? You know, will they accept me, not accept me? It is one of the more memorable times in my life, and it was during a time prior to me probably leaving Huber Heights yet again and going on the road as an escort. I went back on as an adult entertainer because I knew that I could make money that day if I needed it, okay? You know, I'm very good at being an entertainer, period. Unfortunately, it's not the occupation, nor do I want to return to it today, but it's not the occupation so much as law enforcement that makes shit up, you know, because to be reality, I've said this before, it's pretty tricky to bust somebody for prostitution that is intelligent. You have to set them up. Most people are not going to say, sure, I'll do that. You know, it's kind of immature to even ask somebody that. Would you have sex with me for money? You know, sure, I'll do it right now. You know, imagine, you know, one thing that God will share with me with that, imagine if your life came to that and that's all you could do for a living, is go around and frame people or, you know, try to trick people into taking money for sex, you know, and then arresting them. Here comes a cop right now. Yeah. Hopefully he's a friendly one. So here's the thing. We're going to check this out. I'm going to walk around a little bit. I need to put on my jacket. And I'm going to take an extra battery. And I have another card that I can put in. And I want to share a little bit of different things that I was thinking. And I want to look around here myself. And I got to say that I don't know 100% if this is where it was in 2010. If somebody sees this video and they know for sure, I wish you would tell me. It looks familiar, okay, but I don't know if in 2010 the actual festival was held here. It may have been somewhere else. Or maybe they redid some of the buildings or something and it just appears a little bit differently. Because for some reason I remembered walking down a grass hill with a wooded area, and it was really cool because it was during that part of the day where there were people who were actually reenacting things, and I got to witness what I call more like theater, and it was really cool because they were just doing it wherever they were. Okay, so wherever they walked around the festival, they would just start doing it. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I'm into role-playing and stuff, and I have a very playful spirit. I like to pretend, and some of the things that I've always wanted to do, I kind of did being here. Like being at this Viking festival. I never knew about Vikings, but I love pirates, you know, at least what I think of them, the mystique of it, you know, but it can be challenging if you're a transgendered female and to be included in some of the role playing because it may be a little discomforting to others for whatever reason. It's like you're here, you want to do things, but if I get fully in the role of female, forget the transsexualism, and I get in the role of female, it's not that I forget, I'm aware, but if I want to be free, totally free to be the girl that I am, rest assured that if somebody else isn't okay with it, you know, it could lead to problems, okay? So that kind of sucks, you know, for somebody like me because I'm pretty certain. A lot of times I think to myself when I see videos or, you know, it depends, you know, photographs, certain photographs. In my heart, my brain's heart, the definite, I identify as female. More so than the masculine energy that men are. Okay, not every man, but I'm just saying. I feel better in the role of female, okay? It's overwhelmingly joyful for me to know that. And be nice to if the rest of the world would catch up with that. Okay, not just for me, but for all people. Educate yourself. Know there's much more to life. You know, even in the Bible, okay? Read the Bible. There's a lot of answers there, and it gives you some food for thought. Okay? In heaven, there is no male or female. Okay? in heaven. Now don't try to down talk everything and try to revert that around. Well, this isn't heaven. God also what? Let your prayer be like what? May your will that is in heaven. Huh? Maybe what? How's it go with the heaven? May your will be the same here on earth, right? As it is in heaven. How does it go? Maybe you know that verse better. It makes sense when you acknowledge the fact that God is for you to enjoy your life at its fullest. Love is the only way, I am certain. And we might not be familiar with love, like genuine love, or any of us, the purity of love. Are any of us familiar with it? Because it always seems like there's something that's trying to prevent us from being all in love. With that being said, I had a wonderful time being here. I was feeling the emotions of fear. I was a little uncomfortable because I didn't want others to be uncomfortable, and I felt like that might be embarrassing. So I'm dealing with a lot, and I ended up learning that a lot of them were extremely friendly. In fact, I was invited to other festivals. I was invited to hang out with different people, to come over and listen to people sing, to dance. The person who originally invited me, who is in my music video, he had double checked to make sure I was having an okay time, and I kind of hung out with him a majority of the time, and his family that lived with him at the time. We're going to get into looking around, and I'm going to get a jacket on first, and then away we go.